Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Think of all that time. Every wait in the winter. All those hours no one else saw. Every sprint in the summer. Every sacrifice. Early mornings on the levee. Late nights in the film room. Bus rides to playoff games. Every bump in the road. Every moment of ecstasy. Every moment of doubt. Years wondering, is it all worth it? It's all led to this. Man, I got this. It's a 60-minute drive for a 60-minute game. After all the miles we've traveled, we're almost there. After all the hours we've worked, one more can make us legends. After all that time, this is our time.
Seems like no nonsense guy. Like
re-emphasize that for the Saints fans out there on TikTok. Caveman, what did you just say?
The rebuild starts right now. Marshawn Lattimore's gone, so the defense, like we're not getting any better.
Looking to get into Smith. What a pass! Not Dave! Guardell Smith with the game winner! Oh my goodness!
And that is why you have Aaron Fry pass the ball in.
A career year. Like you have you have the best quarterback in the league, arguably, the best wide receiver in the league, and you've got the best edge rusher in terms of total sacks this season. And you're 4-7, and your playoff chances are hanging on by it. Let's make it interesting.
We're making it interesting. Come on. Give us the freaking home team. We'll take it.
Oh, no!
Oh, no.
Put him in there.
Biz back the
Who the heck is that guy?
Deflected good, help defense from the Warriors. Oh, what a pass! And Kuminga throws it down! This could be the pass of the year so far. You might watch every game the rest of the season in the NBA.
Mr. Announcer guy. So don't you go saying that you're never going to see that.
You're such a hater.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
You are looking live at Till the Final Whistle, everybody. HG, Caveman, and H-Train in the house today.
What up?
How's it going? We had a great Final Four weekend past. A lot of blowouts on the women's side, and we're on to the national championship over on the men's side tonight. We're all excited for it over here in the studio. I know I'm glad I got the day off today to watch this game. But
boy, HG does not have the day off. First day at the
new job, though.
Although I am at a television station, so
Yeah, you
Yeah,
might actually see it on one of the.
I do
little
think
computers.
we got plenty of CBS affiliates there, so I'll
Yeah.
probably see it.
That'll be pretty cool, though.
Yeah. So, we'll see how well I get trained if I'm watching the national championship.
So your first day is the next day. It doesn't count today because
Yeah.
it's national championship.
Right.
They'll understand.
This-
They'll understand.
This is mostly for orientation. We're gonna hold off on the training, guys.
yeah. You'll be in and out tonight.
Yeah.
Go back to watch the national championship. They'll understand.
I'll be in the hub, so I'll be seeing it on probably multiple different stations across the
That's pretty cool.
Midwest. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, I digress. Let's jump into some of these matchups here, Caveman, in the Final Four. We'll start with South Carolina and Texas.
Let's go head over there.
A game where Texas looked like they got off to a really strong start. They were shooting the ball really well. They got off to a pretty good lead. They were up at 16-6 at one point in that first quarter, and then that bench unit for South Carolina came in, and it just was a whole different story. Joyce Edwards, we haven't really talked a whole lot about her this year, but kind of been a secret weapon for South Carolina all season. And just a freshman too, so she'll be back with that team for certain. Great. She's got such soft touch around the rim. Good scorer, rebounder, defender. Was really kind of a spark plug for them in multiple games this tournament and all season. Averaging, unlimited minutes, 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 53% shooting from the field in real limited action this year. Good on her.
Shout out to the freshmen in this one.
Yeah.
But they really pulled away. Like, just looking at
They
this
did.
third quarter, 20-9, they had the greatest halftime speech of all time from Don Staley in this one. Just rallied back into the game.
Yeah, well, when they go to their bench and they find like different units and just ways to work around what the other team's doing. And so, your starting 5 will half the time aren't even the 5 that finish on the floor. How often they go to, they end up having like Malaysia Fulwiley or Tessa Johnson. Just Joyce Edwards, even so this year, just end up coming out there and be sort of filling into that starting role.
Kind of like a
unique
closer.
team. Yeah.
Come out, just closing the shift for everybody. And it's not even really like their role as like a bench player. They're more just like, a backup starter.
Mhm.
They really put him on a different team. That's a starter right there. That's somebody that might even be your number one option offensively. This team is just
It'll be the fourth quarter, and you'll have somebody that's coming. That came off the bench that game, and they're running the offense through them. So they're really like 8 starters deep or something like that. It's
they have a really good team.
pretty good. It's a nice thing to have if you're a coach. Yeah, they were just miles better in shooting than Texas was. Like, once they started kind of forcing Texas out onto the line a bit more and taking away that mid range, they were making them drive to the basket a lot more, and the shots just stopped falling. And they were really struggling. They were really trying to get that mid range going, and they just couldn't get it. 40% from 3, only 39% from the field for Texas. It was Jordan Lee, actually, another bench player for the Longhorns, was their leading scorer.
Yep.
And she, of all the people that took volume shots, she was the only one at 50% efficiency or better, which was at 6 and 12. Madison Booker wasn't there for her today, and she kind of got held off the boards. Kyle,
only 1 rebound.
Yeah, Kyle Oldacre, who had a monster Elite 8 game, was
eliminated.
Pretty much taken out
Jeez.
very early in that one. Had a tough time on the glass. The offense, as the game went on, just was getting bogged down and stagnant. They committed a lot of fouls, 17 fouls in this one, 14 turnovers. And they just got, I think, kind of just got outcoached a little bit in this one too. They got, what they were comfortable with doing, they weren't able to do late in this one, and they weren't able to adjust and find a different plan of attack.
Overall, really just two different play styles, I think, too. Like you were saying, the shooting of South Carolina only took 11 threes, but they can really, really shoot it with volume. I think they really just took the smarter shots in this one.
They did. Now Texas definitely losing some important upperclassmen. I mean, maybe you'd think that because they're seniors, but Hunter Dickinson's looking to come back for a 7th year of college basketball.
He was able to get eligibility for next year and is looking like to enter the transfer portal. So we'll see.
For the love of God, man, just leave college basketball.
Yeah, at this point.
Why do you want to keep playing college? I don't understand.
What is it about not wanting to go to the next level of basketball? That's
probably because he knows he's going to be a bench warmer.
Yeah.
I know a lot of us, we thought we were free of Hunter Dickinson, but no.
Nope.
Luckily for South Carolina, not South Carolina, Texas, Madison Booker's a sophomore, Jordan Lee, freshman. You are going to lose your starting point guard, most likely in Rory Harmon. Taylor Jones, I believe, has 1 more year left.
1 more year, not bad.
So she is a senior. So that's you're losing your, another big on your team, losing your starting guard. We'll have to replace them, but still in a pretty good position to be right back around this type of spot next year.
Yeah. Really poised to kind of be in a good spot in the SEC. Definitely be competing in their tournament.
You really just got to find, I think, they really just got to find a way to get around South Carolina because they just replaced talent exceptionally well. I mean, you see Joyce Edwards there. I'm checking on, Tina Paopao. She's a senior. I'm checking some of these other girls that have been with the team for a while. How many years they got left. They could be down a lot of people. Tessa Johnson, sophomore, so she'll be back.
It's good for them. I think they're going to be losing a lot of people, though. A lot of starters, at least.
They will.
For
Wiley, she'll be back. She's a sophomore, so maybe not. I'm
trying to load up Chloe Kitts right here to see if he is upperclassman or not.
Haven Johnson, she's a junior. She might be back. I think she's probably eligible to go into the draft. Certainly would be some,
Chloe Kitts, junior, also another one that could be eligible to go to the draft. So
same thing where you're like, will she come back? I mean, there's a good chance since they, they'll probably want to come back as, the NIL in college and WNBA player aren't going to be too different that you can think, go take another shot at the national championship. So be a team that is relatively still pretty stacked next year.
Definitely.
With a great head coach that
legendary head coach can't
play
miss
to
out.
play to their players' strengths, no doubt. So, I mean, we could very well see another, a rematch of this, at least in the SEC championship.
Oh, yeah.
Could another maybe late tournament rematch as well, another Final Four type matchup.
Definitely.
Between the Longhorns and South Carolina.
They already got to play 4 times in the regular season, so there's going to be a lot of games played with these two teams. I'm just excited to see it. When we get to the tournament, obviously, it's more exciting, but.
There we go. Sanaya Fagan, that's a player that South Carolina might be losing. But then again, she's a forward, and you have Joyce Edwards that looked great and looks like real ready to just step into that role.
Speaking of legendary coaches, though, on the opposite side of this bracket, in another insane blowout victory, University of Connecticut. Just moving on, looking like the dynasty that they used to be in these games.
Yeah.
Like where they just constantly blew everybody out in the tournament and just walked through every round and won the Natty. That's what this last 2 games for UConn looked like.
Right. They were just
USC
dominant.
hang in there. USC, they hung in it. But UCLA, and we'll get to the national championship, but what the heck?
19 turnovers for UCLA.
Yeah, this was...
I mean, this thing felt over at halftime. Only scoring 9 points in the second quarter were the Bruins. Excuse me. And I was just... The offense was flowing for UConn. All the shots were falling.
Yeah.
They were just killing them on the glass, blocking a bunch of shots. Not only 2 blocks, but a ton of steals. They're this offensive
steals.
This UConn offense gets a lot of attention, but their defense is really what gets it done.
They have really good chemistry as a team, like this whole unit. And like as you were saying, all the shots were falling.
55%
Everybody
from the field, 43%, 44% from 3. Like
everybody we've been talking about the past 2 weeks, they were like, "Oh, they're not shooting too well. This could get pretty bad in the Final Four national championship." And they came out and just started making everything in this game.
Yeah, Beckers didn't even have to do too much on this one.
No, just 16 points.
She had 5 rebounds, 3 steals, so she did a lot on the defensive end.
She just took a little night off on the offense.
Sarah Strong she was getting Jokic comps, I heard during the broadcast. Nice. They were calling her, or at least her teammates or somebody was calling her baby Jokic. Oh no, it was Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird called her that. I kind of see it. I don't think she's anywhere near the playmaker Jokic is, but she does fill up the stat sheet in a lot of ways and is a very like do it all type of player, and only a freshman for UConn. Like, gotta feel pretty good about
That's
that.
hype right there.
Kind of a smaller forward, but it doesn't really matter because I mean she just gets the job done. Her and Jana El-Afi did a great job on Lauren Betts. 16 rebounds between those 2 players.
Yeah, they cleaned up the glass.
Stealing the block on the defensive end for Strong. El-Afi has 4 steals herself to go along with 6 points in the 8 rebounds. Azzy Fudd, just another gem that they got here. Just a very stacked UConn team.
They're looking like they're going to be back to it. They're stacked. And there's a lot of their best players in this tournament are some of their youngest. Like obviously we got Paige who's going to be leaving this year.
Lose Azzy Fudd as well.
Else, pretty young.
It was really cool seeing Jana El-Afi's parents. They had made the trip all the way out from Egypt to watch her play, and she probably in the Final Four, and she had probably one of her best games of her entire career. Only 6 points, but all the rebounds she got,
8 boards,
4 steals. And she's just a freshman as well. So another player that's probably just going to get better.
Held Lauren Betts. She was shooting it up. She got whatever she wanted when it came to scoring, but only 5 rebounds in this one. Only 5 rebounds for Lauren Betts. They completely eliminated off the glass. It was really up to Gabriella Jaquez right here, who had 8. No one else had above 5 either, except for Janiah Barker. So those two young forwards for UConn, man, they could be running the paint in these tournaments for years to come, man. They look really good. 55% though as a team is just scary.
UConn, man, that dynasty might be back. The women's hoops.
That's what. Good. How many Final Four wins does Gino have? Let me look this up really quickly.
It's a lot, man. This is their 12th national championship since 1995,
and he's been the coach for all 12.
Yeah.
Oh,
definitely the best coach in women's hoops history. He's been.
I forget.
He's had some. I mean, he's had some legendary teams.
Google knows.
And he's, dominated with them. Kiki Rice we mentioned, man, that her shooting has been real. It was real spotty, and that she was going to need to show up in this game, and she did not really deliver in 37 minutes on the court. Wasn't even really doing a whole lot to facilitate. Only 3 assists there, which was, we said if she can't score, that might be her.
Just dish it. And there really wasn't anything they could get from her.
Complete flip on how well UCLA shot the ball from their Elite 8 game to this one. Jaquez and Tamia Gardner just lit it up from 3. And then in this one, Jaquez was 0 for 6. Tamia Gardner 1 from 5 from the field. So, and then her one shot was a 3-pointer, but one three is not going to do it for you there. They needed to play pretty much perfect game, and they gave us the exact opposite there. So abysmal, 4-16 from 3.
Yeah, that's no good right there.
And it was you could tell it was just they were starting to get desperate, and they wanted threes to fall, taking rushing through the shot clock. It's you did not need to rush that shot there, and they still did. And it just made the hole even deeper and deeper.
My gosh, dude. So his career record at UConn, I don't know. Is this correct? 1,250 and 165? There's no way that's correct.
I mean, that would make sense if he's been doing this for almost 30 years. Yeah, 1995. That'd be about 30 years.
Oh no, major schools record. So 40-year career.
It just says school, Connecticut.
Oh.
I mean, he's been doing this for 40 years. If he's got mostly winning teams that win most of their games, I mean,
1,000 wins.
UConn this year only had 3 losses to 36 wins. So if that's around your ratio each season, and you've been doing it for 40 years, yeah, that would make sense.
He's won 13 Big East Coach of the Years, 6 AAC Coach of the Years. He's got 6 USBWA Coach of the Years, 9 AP Coach of the Years, and 8 Naismith Coach of the Year awards.
Yeah.
This dude,
he's an incredible recruiter, because just think about all the talent and just stacked teams that UConn's had throughout the years. I mean, they've put together year after year. They have these college super teams, and then half their teams go to the WNBA and have incredible careers, and they're impact players and win championships there. So recruiting, coaching, yeah, it would make sense that he's only got 165 losses.
Gosh,
in 40 years of coaching.
Legendary record. Oh,
he's been doing this since '85.
So his first season, they were 12 and 15. And then they slowly just got better and better. 14 and 13, 17 and 11. And then they went on the runs 24 and 6, 25 and 6, 29 and 5.
You're seeing down there, early 90s, a couple of 1-loss seasons.
Yeah, 35 and 0 in 1994.
We got a couple of perfect seasons in there as well. Yeah, man.
39 and 0, 01-02 was 39 and 0, and they were the conference. They won the national championship, conference championship, NCAA tournament. Yeah, they
check the 2010s. This is looking like the last time. The last time UConn even had double-digit losses in a season under Gino Arias.
It was 92. They were 18 and 11,
wow,
and they still made the tournament that year. So they had 2 back-to-back undefeated seasons where they were also the tournament champions in their conference and the national championships.
Yeah, that's the GOAT coach right there.
And it's recent success too. It's 10 years, just 10 years ago. Oh no, not even 8 years ago. They were 38-0, NCAA tournament champions, regular season champions, conference champions in 2015, 2016. So pretty much
worst season
9-10 years ago.
worst season in the last 10 years was going 30-6
Yeah.
and still winning like a conference.
Yeah, still won their conference tournament that year. They just made the tournament. Yeah. And that was Paige. That was freshman Paige.
Where she
So
tore
you
her.
have an extremely young team.
And was that the year she got injured, or was that her sophomore season?
I think that was either freshman or sophomore year for her.
That makes sense. All right, well, we'll go over the national championship and also talk about the absolute domination that UConn put up there, 82-59. So a 23-point win for the national championship. Sarah Strong, again, I mean, really,
Just being a monster.
UConn's best player, I think,
Just being a
statistically.
monster in this
24 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocked shots, and 2 steals.
It's the secret weapon right there.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to be a beast for years to come for UConn there. That is going to be like just a freshman. Like Gino's got to be just like this is what she's doing as a freshman. Like, oh man, well, like watch out how much better she can get.
And they're losing their prime. They're losing their number one guard. So this could really be a baby Jokic in the making right here. Let's see how it is when someone else
they're losing
the ball up.
Paige and Azzy Fudd most likely. Fudd's also a senior for the Huskies team.
They're losing their guards.
So yeah, I mean that like she already does a lot on the glass, can score pretty much at will, steal and block machine. You know, losing some of your top 2 guards is going to make you more of a facilitator.
Come on, Gino.
They're also losing Caitlin Chen, so
that would just make her. If they change that offense up to actually do that, come on, Gino. Give Sarah Strong the opportunity to do that. Just get yourself another number 1 overall draft pick to come out of one of your schools or one of your teams. You could easily do that right here.
We'll see. You know, not a ton of help from the bench unit for UConn either. It was largely just
those
the big 3.
Everybody.
Azzy Fudd, Sarah Strong, and Paige Beckers. 24 and 24 for Fudd and Strong, 17 for Beckers. Beckers also 6 rebounds. She's a really good rebounder for a guard. 3 assists, steal, 2 blocks. She can also, like, very lanky, gives her a lot of reach and kind of an ability to protect the rim. Especially, like, she's a very tall guard, so she'll be, like, she's usually defending a smaller player on her. That just makes it too easy. What's up, Amber?
Amber, what's up?
Jay Kent, thank you guys for tuning in.
What's going on?
Yeah, this game, I just could not believe my eyes what I was seeing. Just that hole just kept getting bigger and bigger for South Carolina. Try as they might, they just could not seem to climb out of it. Like, relatively competitive first half. They weren't down by a ton going into halftime. I think it was like 10-point game. And you're like, okay, well, I mean, it's, you know, Coach Dawn, Gamecocks, they got this. They'll figure something out to get it competitive. Go to their bench unit, see what they can get going. But I mean, just nothing. Like, neither team was really good from 3, but they just weren't good from the field at all.
No.
And it wasn't even like there was a huge free throw disparity. 21 attempts for UConn to 18 for
Only
South Carolina.
3. A 3-shot difference right there.
Like, they didn't have a huge amount of too many more turnovers. That UConn defense just, nobody really seemed like they could get comfortable and find a rhythm. They did a great job of keeping all these players out of rhythm. I mean, with how deep this, I mean, it's a deep UConn team too. That's, but with how deep this South Carolina team is, I mean, that's the problem a lot of people run into, is that there's a spark plug off the bench or one of these starters gets hot, and it just never happened in this game. Just swarming defense. They just nobody looked comfortable there on South Carolina. Coach Dawn was she was pissed on the sidelines. You could see it.
It was bad. It was a bad night for the team.
Yeah.
That was my pick to win it. And they made that whole run there. They had some close ones getting into the national championship. I was like, they could do it again. They could go back to back. Nope. It did not work out that way. Did not work out in my favor.
Now, if we're looking at players that are probably going off to the WNBA draft, obviously Tina Paopao, she's a senior. Sunday Fagan will probably see them drafted. That I think late first round talents to early first is where I could see both of them going, or late first round to early second, rather. Around like the 10th through like 15th picks. On UConn's side, Paige Beckers is pretty much the consensus number one. Azzy Fudd, I mean, she could be, I think, a sneaky
lottery pick.
Sneaky, at least like mid-round pick, 6 to 8. I'm not sure what the international prospects look like. I know they're not as strong, but there could be some there. I could see her, potentially as a top 5 pick, though. Caitlin Chen, I think, is like a late second rounder. How many rounds are there? There's like 4, isn't it? Because there's only 12 teams, so
they do. I think they only do 4, or is it like the NBA where they only do 2?
Well, I think just because there's only 12 teams and more prospects that they do have.
That's a bit longer.
Like 3, maybe 4. I don't know for sure though. But yeah, Chen I can see going, in the late rounds if she does get drafted. But I think that's about going to wrap up our coverage there for the women's side. Wasn't a crazy interesting Final Four or
it was a
championship.
Lot of blowouts.
All blowouts.
Kind of sucks.
Double-digit wins for all the winners in those Final Fours. Especially, it was a very thrilling and exciting Elite Eight out of the women's, but the Final Four just the best of the best rised above, I suppose. And yeah, I mean,
just beat downs. I like the women's hoopers, man, but it is definitely hard to watch a blowout game like that.
You know what I'll be excited for next season is we're gonna get like multiple matchups of Caitlin Clark versus Paige Beckers, likely going to the Dallas Wings. And so she'll be joining some great hoopers and like Asia Wilson, the defending champion New York Liberty, with Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu.
Can't forget about the Liberty, man.
And Atlanta,
freaking stacked.
Atlanta Dream team that really had just missed out on the playoffs, but I saw there was a lot building there. The Chicago Sky, they probably need a guard. They got Angel Reese, Camila Cardozo, so they got plenty of bigs.
They could use a guard. That's true.
Kennedy Carter's there. Is it Kennedy or Kennedy?
I think it's Kennedy, but it's spelled spelled weird, differently.
Yeah. They got her there, so I mean, who's going to pair up with her? It's going to be will be exciting to see. WNBA draft. It's going to be here soon, and then the regular season starts in the middle of May or early May. So it's like these girls wrap up playing the tournament, go get drafted, and it's like, all right, now you're into the regular season. So
party foul.
Yeah.
Spilled my freaking drink.
No rest for the wicked there. All right, well, we're gonna head to a quick music break. When we come back, though, we got the men's Final Four to break down and a look tonight at who is going to come away as a national champion. Houston Cougars continue to shock and prove everyone wrong. All that and more coming up here on Till the Final Whistle, Madness Mondays. Don't go anywhere.
We can fly across the ocean with our arms spread open wide. Follow me as far as you can, baby. You and me got nothing left to hide. And all our friends will be there with us. We've got nothing left to fear. Running free as far as we can until that's all we hear. Follow me now, come on, let's play here. Let's play a while, you know now everything's alright. Follow me now, come on, let's play here. Let's play a while, you know now everything's alright.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
You are looking live, everybody, at Till the Final Whistle. HG and Caveman back in the house. Finished up our women's breakdown. A lot of just blowouts in that side of the weekend, but headed over.
It's always
to
disappointing.
The
You're like, we got a championship weekend, and it's just blowout central,
blowout city.
But I mean, you can't blame the team for blowing the other team out. You're gonna
they came to play.
Try to win by as much and as much as possible.
They came to play for sure. UConn Huskies. But the four teams on the men's side,
much more competitive
all came
over
to
here.
Play.
Yeah,
this was a great Final Four weekend for the men's.
So, Caveman, where do we start with this?
You know what? I think that we save Houston for last. I know you said that they were boring, but I think that they
put together a thrilling game here.
This one was a thriller. I say we go to that one last.
Okay.
Auburn and Florida,
another
SEC
thriller here.
Matchup. Walter Clayton, man. We need to
Florida.
Somebody put the Heisenberg hat on Walter.
I think too many people, myself included, just did not give Florida the respect they deserve. They thought that Alabama or Auburn were the better teams in the conference all year. And I mean, maybe I'm projecting a little bit, but Florida was always, third to me out of those three SEC schools. And they have just proved me wrong all tournament long. Walter Clayton Jr. is going to, be forever remembered as a tournament legend. Man has been absolutely balling out of his mind these past few games.
Oh, he's a senior. God
yeah.
dang it.
We'll see. I don't know if he's going to transition super well to the NBA, but man, he's a college legend at the very least, for sure. Elijah Martin gave us some iconic dunks in this one. Did a Michael Jordan impression, took off from the free throw line for one, and then he yammed it down, going around two defenders. That was sick to watch. Thomas Haug, Alex Condon, these bigs here really put up some impressive defensive performances here on Johni Broome. And it was just a great coaching job overall. Auburn late in that first half, found a lot of success. They were trying to clear out and back down those bigs one-on-one, let Broome kind of work on them. And Florida just did a good job in the second half, not giving them those opportunities and being disruptive on defense. There was so much hustle out of these Gators in this one too. Dude. Yeah, they were. I mean, Condon, this guy, he only had 1 point, fouled out of the game, but his impact just that he had on this game does not show up on the stat sheet. First of all, some of these fouls, I'm happy to take that. Don't give. It was it wasn't given. It was just not to give up an easy bucket, And they were very tone setting fouls, making the guy think twice before he tries to drive up to the rim with one of those bigs lurking there. It was a foul that said, "We're not giving you anything easy."
And it's not dirty at all, not hurting anyone. It's not like they're going and just taking out a guy's knees. It's just giving.
I mean, he just tried to contest. He just wasn't able to get good positioning, And that's not necessarily dirty. That's just not, you're allowed to contest. If you don't contest the right way, it's a foul.
Yeah,
that happens all the time. Can't hold that against him. But Clayton, man, 34 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Shooting hit 5 big threes, and he would late in this game he would just they would get him that ball, kind of set a high screen and roll, give him just a little bit of space, and he hit some big time threes, whether it be to kill some a run that Auburn was going on to tie a game back up, and it got to a point where Auburn had to start fouling. Florida won it at the line. Took 30 attempts this game. The Gators did
30 free throws,
mm-hmm.
And not even really that far apart. And Auburn had 23, so it's really not. It wasn't too foul heavy game for either.
Auburn's defense wasn't bad either. They had 11 steals in this one. Chad Baker, Mazara, Johni Broome with 7 of those though. Those guys were really the top offensive weapons as well. So those are your top guys offensively and defensively. Cardwell did have 8 rebounds there.
And Johni Broome's doing his best out there. He wasn't the most efficient shooter, obviously, in this game, but just filled up the stat sheet. 7 boards, 2 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks with his 15 points.
They played them tough. And Thomas Haug and Alex Condon deserve a lot of props. I mean, Broome still was able to impact the game in a number of ways, but they made it real hard for him to get going as a scorer and to impact it that way. And he had to rely on some other guys to help him out. Baker Mazara was hitting some big time threes, though. I'll give him that. This was a great back and forth game. We two teams that I think a lot of people say are better defensively, and this got turned into an offensive track meet.
game for sure. Until that like 41-27 difference there in the second half was just crazy to me. Florida really turned it on there late,
right?
And just
down 8 points at halftime.
Could not be stopped offensively. It was really just. It's not like Auburn was playing bad defense. It was just that Florida refused to lose the game. They just did whatever they could to win it. Another shout out to Walter Clayton, though, man. This dude's a bucket. 34 points, man. Gosh. And he shoots so efficiently, too. Sometimes I see him take shots, and I'm just like, why are you even taking that? And then he splashed it. Just drains it. Doesn't even matter. He had like a step back fadeaway 3 over 2 people in this game that you're like, why are you even shooting that until it goes in?
Right.
And then you're like,
they trust him. Like they want him taking these shots.
Take that all day long. Go for it.
Like he even said that in his post game interview. Like, he was like, my teammates, like they give me the balls in these situations. They trust me to take these shots. And so I got to deliver for him. But boy, does he deliver. Like he just 3-level score, can shoot the 3, dangerous in the mid-range. But like some of my favorite baskets of his were like all tournament was just him driving to the hoop, taking like, getting tough baskets, like taking a lot of contact and setting up a 3-point play that way, like finishing at the rim.
His contact
through contact,
one of the best in this tournament. He drives the lane with such confidence too. Like he feels like he's going to punch a dunk on everybody's head.
Right.
I think that's what his mindset is when he charges the basket.
But Elijah Martin might do that to you too.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible. That guy's got some incredible athleticism. And I think we got to give a lot of props to these big men of Florida. Their defense and inside and just the way they've defended the post and the paint all tournament long has been fantastic. They're 2 guys that haven't scored, that don't score a ton. This is a good game for Hagi at 12 points here, along with his 7 rebounds, 2 blocked shots, and a steal as well. But they're not going to do a ton of scoring, but they'll get you those big rebounds, and then they're going to just they defend the paint so well. I mean, they really set a tone inside. It's like, you're not getting any easy baskets on this Florida defense.
It doesn't show it in the box score for Condon. Like it really looks like Condon had a really quiet game in this one.
Looks like was pretty much,
missed shots. They don't show how many, missed shots that are caused from his contest or turnovers or forced turnovers.
Like that's why
they don't show that on
one of these instances where stats are not going to show you anything because the impact he had out there, and he took a couple of charges as well.
Like they don't show drawn fouls.
Yeah,
like
none of that.
They show personal fouls on here, so he doesn't really have the benefit of the stat sheet for this game. But props to him. He played his butt off.
Right. I felt like when there was a big defensive moment there for Florida before he fouled out, he was around. Yeah, he was there.
Condon.
He was around the ball. So, special team the Gators got here. Gotta say, I feel bad now. I don't know what the hell I was talking about. I never gave them the props that they very so clearly.
I didn't either.
Deserved or gave them the respect.
I
slept on this Florida Gators team.
You picked them to win this game, though.
I did, yeah. I mean, after their Elite Eight, I was awake, and now I'm enlightened on Florida.
I think they got a chance to win this national championship.
Shout out Iron Eagle. They are going for a national championship. Oh, it was a great play on words there by him. Now let's go talk about their competition, the Houston Cougars, another team that I did not want to give their props to. So this men's tournament is just one seed's just proven me wrong. I slept on Houston as well. And I called them boring. I said they play a boring brand of basketball, but this comeback that they had, thanks to their defense, their amazing defense that they played, Duke just couldn't figure out how to get out of a trap to save their life.
They only had 1 field goal attempt in the last like 10 and a half minutes of the game.
It was like, I don't know if I think it was only one made shot in like,
Well, they had
in like a 10-minute stretch or something like that where, yeah,
they had free throws, but they didn't have anything. They didn't have anything other than free throws. They didn't get any other shots. It was insane.
Yeah. They got rattled and they were up, what was it, 17? About midway through the second. You're like, oh, this game this feels like it's over. Duke to the national championship. But the Cougars did not quit. LJ Cryer, man, this guy's kind of a bucket. I like the way he just pulls and fires from 3 too with such confidence. He was taking some deep ones and hitting them. Where you're like, wow, I mean, if they can, if Houston can find a way to be that efficient from 3, because they shot 45%, that could be problematic for Florida. Like, they weren't particularly great from the field, but from 3, 10 to 22, you're hitting those threes with the guys that they got that can defend the perimeter. They can build a lead, and it really helped them in this comeback. They were hitting threes because that was most of their threes were coming late in this game. Like that's when they were shooting them and clawing their way back into this.
It's like 3 guys shooting threes right here. Well, really only Emmanuel Sharp.
It was Sharp and Cryer. Like those two guys.
The only guys hitting them.
If they're on though, it's.
But hey, feed the hot hand. Feed the hot hand.
Exactly. 26 out of Cryer, man. He had 5 rebounds as well, 1 steal, 1 assist. But he just took it into his hands to become a scorer. Tugler, man, Joseph Tugler, 4 blocks in this one.
He's another guy right here. Stat sheet: 8 boards, 4 blocks. This guy was just in the paint. And that they all just stepped into a role really here at the end. It's like we got guys that could score. There's gonna be our dudes off the glass right now. Roberts, Tugler, just defend the paint and grab rebounds.
It was like,
kick it out to our guys.
We're like Sharp, Cryer, those are our scorers. We're gonna get the ball in their hands on offense. And then on defense, you're Roberts, Tugler, you guys are defending the post, defending the paint. You're crashing the glass. You're getting those boards for us.
They just made it simple on themselves, really. It's like, what do our guys do the best? Let's just have them do that. We're going to come back.
We're pressuring Duke all the way up the court. That was crucial in this comeback because they were trapping Duke and running these full 4-court presses on them all the way up the court. And they never really let Duke come down and start running their offense in the half court, which is what they love to do.
I mean, like, who knew it was just some really tough defensive pressure in the half court game that would get Duke? Because they really like to play you when they like to get their offense set up and they like to actually run a play against you most of the time. Really, they really just disrupted the timing of their offense with that pressing. How about those traps? It was Tugler, really beautiful.
Talk about 2 of your 4 points coming at the biggest moment when he had that putback dunk off the missed 3. That was huge. And then they were able to steal the inbound pass. Yeah, I'd like Duke. They got too comfortable. They got in the cruise control, and then Houston came out and just started hitting them in the mouth, and they got scared. They got shook. Like Houston got Duke shook down the stretch, and it materialized in a bad turnover here to basically give Houston the ball back. They get fouled, and it's 2 shots up at the line, basically. It was, an incredible game out of the Cougars. Super thrilling comeback. And I think I crap talked Houston, said that I don't want to watch them because I think they're boring. I think they could actually give us a really good national championship. I really do.
I agree. And I think this is also very good for the Big 12 that we had a team make a pretty good run this year. Them and Arizona real good runs in this tournament. I think it's kind of putting that conference back up, after the realignment. Because the SEC was super strong this year, and obviously you still got Big East and Big Ten and your ACC teams. Shout out to the Big 12 and all the teams on the West. Come on, shout out to the Big 12 this year. Good run. I'll be a fan of the Big 12 teams, and I'll root for them until they're playing Colorado, because they're probably going to beat us.
Yeah. Well, Colorado won't be in the tournament next year.
No, unless Dion just starts funding money under the table to the boys or something like.
All right. Well, we got to talk about some of the guys on Duke that just disappeared.
Malawak,
yeah. How did both of those two guys are like 7 feet tall? How did they have 0 rebounds?
0 boards.
That's insane. Knipple, he played really well, 16.7 rebounds. I mean, Cooper Flagg, not much more he could have done, I guess, besides maybe make that final shot.
Yeah, like he did what he did normally, and then.
But I mean, that's young freshman player, man. That's really tired and run out in this game as well. Not getting a lot of help from anywhere else outside of like Knipple. Gave him some scoring, but like Flagg, he had to do so much scoring. He had to do with all that. He was tied with Knipple for the most rebounds on the team.
Proctor
he had the
James
most
couldn't find that spark for him.
Dude, he had the most assists on the team.
Yeah.
3 blocks, 2 steals. So tied for the most steals on this team, had the most blocked shots on this team.
This guy did
like
it
guys,
all.
I know Flagg's incredible, but I mean, Duke, at some point
you need somebody
help. Somebody else gotta give the kid some help. He is just a freshman, and that's a lot. I don't care how good he is, outside of maybe LeBron James. That's a lot of pressure for one kid to handle.
Yeah.
I'm 18-year-old LeBron came right into the NBA, so he was he kind of was ready for it, I suppose. But Flagg, I don't know. You needed somebody to step up. I mean, just 2 7-footers getting 0 rebounds. Come on, coach at halftime. What's the coach name? John Shire.
Yeah.
At halftime, you got to see that, and I mean, make some major adjustments. I don't care. Tell those guys I don't care. You're somebody. One of you is just planting in the post, and you're gonna put yourself in position to just basically be there to rebound. I don't want you to worry about scoring. You're just defending drives to the basket and trying to get boards.
If you could just get 1 rebound, this game is completely different.
Right.
That ending change
Malawak
just drastic.
At least gave you 6 points. Ngongba, man, disappeared. And this is not one of those cases where, the stat sheet doesn't do him justice. He just was not there. He was a complete non-factor.
5 minutes.
Yep. Now, Proctor, man, I would have didn't shoot very well. Committed 3 fouls. Didn't really facilitate. Not a good game from him too. They just Duke just kind of choked when Houston started bringing a lot of pressure on Flagg, and it was oh crap, there's all this intense pressure, defensive pressure on this, and they just folded under it.
And Houston, they know how to rally. That's one thing.
Yeah.
That's one thing here.
So Cooper Flagg's future in college basketball, I think it's going to depend on who gets that number 1 pick in the lottery.
Yeah, whoever wins the lottery this year is, that'll probably decide it. Because I don't feel like he doesn't want to go to Washington.
Yeah, he was already hinting at maybe returning to Duke if they didn't like whoever had the number 1 pick. And so now, especially since you didn't get that national championship, there's more incentive to return. And let's think about the teams that might be available. I mean, Washington, Charlotte, they're going to have a great shot at him. I'm looking at
Utah
in the East, Philly, maybe Brooklyn, Toronto. I could maybe see if Philly somehow gets it, he might be okay. Just because they do have like Embiid and Maxey, and you can think like, okay, that team's got some potential. They're just really injured this year. The Jazz, I don't think you'd want to go to the Jazz.
Want to go there.
Maybe the Pelicans, you'd be like, all right, team up with Zion. But Zion can never stay healthy.
You don't want to go there, dude. There ain't no way.
If the Spurs somehow get it, there has to be a congressional investigation into San Antonio because there's just
something's going on.
There'd be no way they get the lottery #1 pick for David Robinson, then Tim Duncan, and then Wembanyama, and then Cooper Flag. No, there's something afoot.
Something going on there.
Portland and Phoenix are pretty unlikely. I mean, those have like a less than 1% chance.
Yeah, they would. They
probably
do it.
I think there's a good chance we see him maybe just come back and run it back,
Yeah, honestly, I feel like he's just.
I feel like the teams that are most likely to have it are Utah, Washington, or Charlotte, and I don't think he's going to want to go to any of those black hole franchises.
Yeah, no. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
And no, it will not.
And I would rather see him stay just because it makes for some more pretty exciting tournament games.
Run it back. He's just going to be wasting away on one of those franchises. Yeah. I'm sorry, but until they can, I don't know. Utah's like the only franchise where I'm like, they might be able to like field a decent team around him. They were a serious, threat in the West there for a minute with Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, but
it's also funny that he will not. Remembering now, he's not going to be able to go to the Suns at all. They don't have a first-round pick until 2032. So right. Cooper Flag is not going to the Suns unless the Suns trade away Bradley Beal or Kevin Durant,
or both.
That's
probably the only way you're getting a lottery pick is if you send those.
And it's not like they're getting the first round for 2025, 26.
But then again, I'm like,
no. They're going to get they might get a 2-year out first round pick for KD. There's no way.
If I'm a team that could draft Cooper Flag and you're like, I'll give you aging Kevin Durant and washed up Bradley Beal for that pick, I'm like, no.
Like the Suns are screwed until 2032.
Yeah.
Like them banking on those 3 guys was probably the biggest mistake they could have done.
They went top heavy and it did not work.
Nope.
All right. Before we get to our next break here, Caveman, let's jump into predictions.
Florida
for
Houston National Championship. Here we go. You know what, man? Give me Florida.
I'm taking Florida.
Give me Florida in this one.
They're on an incredible run.
Condon.
It's going to be down to the wire. I think this game's decided by 3 points or less.
Oh yeah.
No shot. It's not a 1-possession game though.
Oh no. So Florida is 1.5 point favorite in this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a razor thin margin here
right there.
Right. I mean, 2 pretty impressive bigs for both teams. Hogg more of a bench player. Although we weren't even really talking about Ruben. I don't know how you pronounce his last name, but he's that more of that starting 4 spot there for Florida. That'll be matched up on Roberts. But yeah, I mean, Cryer and Clayton, both guys are liable to go off and just start getting buckets. So I think we're going to be in for, we could see an incredible guard duel between these 2 guards here. And then I think it'll also ultimately just come down to which team gets the 3 ball going better, and then which team's pair of bigs impact the glass and the defensive paint more.
Yeah. If Houston's bigs hold Florida and their starters to another 0 rebound night, it's going to be in for a long one.
I'd lean Florida because I think they just shoot the ball a little bit better.
They rank pretty good in assists too.
Yeah,
they're top 3 in SEC teams for assists this year. So I think
That's a great point. Yeah.
Their ball movement this year is really just it's, if not one of the best,
Right.
one of the best in the tournament this
We'll
year.
see, like,
So
we'll see, how the 3-point shots are falling for Houston. That'll be a big factor for them there. ESPN's matchup predictors got Houston at a 65.4% chance to win.
yeah,
Which I feel
yeah.
is very interesting. But nonetheless, man, going to be a thrilling game. Certainly more defensive. I wouldn't expect this to be too high scoring, like, around high 60s, low to mid 70s.
Now Florida, just go up by 20, make Houston come back so we can get a high scoring game, and then just win by 3, Florida. How does that
Right.
sound?
Yeah, you can
Walter
do that.
Clayton half court game winner from like the first S on March.
Will
Madness or
we
something,
finally get like
you know?
a second buzzer beater in this tournament? Man, we only had one. We only had the Derek Queen off balance floater. That was our only buzzer beater of this whole tournament, unless I'm forgetting one. But I don't think I am.
No, that was it. Yeah, that was really it.
Can we get one more in the national championship?
Come on.
Florida Gators versus the Houston Cougars. Going to be a doozy. Tip off is at 6:50 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on CBS.
National championship.
Make sure you're there, people. It's going to be a heck of a matchup. All right, Caveman. That's going to wrap up our national coverage championship. We're going to head to a quick commercial break. But stay tuned. We got a little surprise for you when we come back for the second half of the show here. Don't go anywhere.
It's time for a vacation, and Fairway Travels is here to share great specials for you to choose from. Discover the charm and features of one of Sandals' 16 all-inclusive, luxury-included, adults-only resorts. Or a family-friendly beaches destination in the Caribbean. Or how about a couples resort in Jamaica? If cruising's your preference, get Thunderstroke aboard Carnival Cruise Lines or set sail on an award-winning Royal Caribbean ship. Join Virgin Voyages now for a wonderful adults-only sailing. It doesn't matter if you choose to travel by plane, train, automobile, cruise ship, or rowboat, we can help you reach your dream destination. Contact Fairway Travels today at 228-365-1012. That's 228-365-1012. Or email bookitnow247@gmail.com. Fairway Travels, where your journeys keep satisfying.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
You are looking live at Till the Final Whistle, everybody. The boys are back in the house, and we've got a special announcement. Our special for the last little bit of the show today is going to be a first round mock draft for the NFL. It's coming up.
We're going to do
the
it
last Thursday of April this year. And I think we kind of have a pretty controversial draft going this year. At least in my opinion, I feel like there's a lot of
people are very all over the place with how it's going to go. I'm seeing a lot of trades. I've seen up to 3 quarterbacks in the top 10 to just Cam Ward going in the top 10. It's all over the place. We're going to go ahead and we're going to throw our hat in the ring and just see how it all pans out. So we're going to start here with the Titans on the clock. And I mean, I still think this one's a no-brainer. All signs really point towards the Titans going for Cam Ward.
I agree with you there. And their main team needs quarterback, wide receiver, edge, corner, and I think is offensive tackle there. But I mean, you got 2 pretty good options there for your number 1 pick. You got Cam Ward, got Abdul Carter. Either one, I feel like they're taking a smart pick. Either one, I feel like could be a good pick.
So now we have the Cleveland Browns here. Their top needs: QB, wide receiver, offensive tackle, running back, and defensive tackle, according to this website. However, I'm just referencing some other mock drafts here that maybe help with our decisions. Pro Football Focus predicting a trade here where the Bears trade up to get Abdul Carter. I don't really know about this one though. They're just saying
Bears
they would.
are the offseason kings, though.
Yeah,
That's their Super Bowl right there.
let's kind of. Do you want to just throw it in there and see if it would even go through on this?
Let's see if it would even go through on here.
Because this thing will just reject trades. So the Bears, they would trade the 10th, the 39th, the 148th, and a 2026 first for the second. Let's see. Well, trade's been rejected.
Been rejected. Okay.
This page is stingy.
That's not completely out of the blue right there for.
I
Bears.
could see that happening. The Bears trading up and getting Abdul Carter.
Them trading up with the Browns. That's or trading with the Titans.
So I don't know if we're going to be able to get any trades to actually get accepted on this site. You have to basically have one team just get ripped off. Well, if the Browns keep it at the second pick, who do you think?
Carter.
I think
the second pick right here.
That makes a lot of sense to me too. They're just going to load up with Abdul Carter.
Just gave all that money to Myles Garrett. Why not? Why not go and get another guy?
Now, if you're the Giants, Travis Hunter is here. Shedeur Sanders is here. What do you kind of go with?
They just got Russ and they just got Jameis. Do they still go and get another quarterback? Honestly, I don't think so.
I kind of feel like they take Travis Hunter
I think
here.
Hunter at 3.
You just got to go with him. Right, best player on the board. Go ahead and snag him.
Well, the Patriots kind of playing with some house money here.
Right.
It can kind of go with the fun pick.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I feel like they kind of they loaded up this offseason with some good signings.
They brought in some receiver help. Did Diggs sign with them?
Yeah. Diggs. They got Diggs to sign with them. So hopefully he comes back healthy.
Their defensive line and secondary got bigger. I would say, I know they could go with a fun pick here, but it also makes a ton of sense is to just get the best offensive tackle in the draft
Campbell right here.
Yeah.
That's what I was kind of thinking too, that they could go with the crazy pick, but Travis Hunter in our board isn't really available. And that was kind of the fun pick that I would hope that they go for here, the Patriots, in my opinion. But I think I agree with you there. Will Campbell probably be who they go for.
Exactly. All right. Now here, we got the Jaguars. I think this one's also no brainer. If Mason Graham is available there, right? Best defensive tackle in the draft. You could use. I mean, the Jags got gashed by the running backs this year. I mean, just absolutely slaughtered on the ground. I think with especially you got Josh Hines and Travion Walker there on your edges there, a big D tackle like Mason Graham.
It would help
in the middle.
Certainly help them a lot.
It's not the most exciting pick, but it's the most practical, and I think that's where they go here. All right.
Now we're down to the Raiders.
The Raiders. Baby. They need a receiver.
But
they also need a running back badly. So I'm
kind of all for picking Ashton Jeanty.
I'm real between Jeanty or Tatron McMillan.
Tatron McMillan would be cool.
I think in this situation, it just makes more sense that they take Ashton Jeanty.
Zaire Hasma's best available on the board for us. And I'm kind of all for him having drafting Ashton Jeanty right here at the 6th overall pick.
That just makes a lot of sense, especially you got Geno. You don't need a quarterback. And now this is where we come to a very interesting situation. The Jets have Justin Fields. However, Shedeur Sanders is still on the board
here.
Now you're the Jets. like Armand Membo is probably your best available player here. And the Pro Football Focus has them drafting him here. Has the Jets drafting him here. But I'm thinking, I mean, if Shador's there on the board, I mean,
why not?
I think they go Shador Sanders here. Right?
Just let it fly.
Doesn't like Justin Fields is obviously not your long-term solution. Maybe your offensive line isn't the greatest, but you've got a weapon in Garrett Wilson. And one thing Shador showed against behind a very bad Colorado offensive line is the ability to stay poised and be accurate.
Yeah, he could still
under
get
pressure
it done while being the most sacked quarterback in the entire FBS.
Right.
So.
I think it's a pretty good offensive line class as is. And
they could go and get a guy later on in the offensive line.
Right. And I think they did they did bring in some offensive line help. Nobody like
not any big
groundbreaking, but Josh Myers, Chimukwa Okafor. Maybe so like nobody that's, making you right home, but certainly some solid upgrades. And I think you can afford to go and get quarterback here. So we're going to have the Jets. This is our real big shakeup, I think, the first round. Shador falling to the Jets. But it makes sense. It makes sense for the Browns to pass on the QB, even though they need one. Because, I mean, you're just in cap hell with Deshaun Watson's contract and you just paid Myles Garrett. It's like, why draft a quarterback in this draft when you're not going to, he's just going to be in a terrible situation. Make some scrub play that way. And now you're just stacking up on defensive talent. And now we get to the Panthers, who need cornerback. They need center, safety, wide receiver, and edge. Tate McMillan's here.
I think Membo is probably who they end up picking here. But Will Johnson to help out with their other dude, I'm blanking on his name right now. J.C. Horn.
Right.
That would be a pretty fun pick.
Pro Football Focus has them taking McMillan here. Ooh. I like Will Johnson though, because if you think about it, Adam Thielen, despite being old, kind of balled out. You already took Xavier Legette last year. Really, like when Bryce Young and the offense kind of got going, I mean they weren't bad. They were competitive and they could score. And I think where you still lost some games was that you just got shredded on defense. And I think Will Johnson here, I think we take him, Caveman. What do you think here?
I think so too. That's a fun pick. They just banked on J.C. Horn, get him some help out there in the secondary. That would be a really fun duo in Carolina.
Bam, we're gonna go Will Johnson to the Panthers. Now we're here at 9 with the Saints.
Oh, geez.
Projected to take Jihad Campbell by Pro Football Focus. But some of their big needs, guard, wide receiver, cornerback, edge, and it says running back. Hey, man, you're the Saints fan here. I'm going to kind of lean on you. Where do you think they're going with this pick?
Honestly, here, probably with what's available right now, knowing the Saints, probably pick Armand Membo right here with the 9th pick.
Gotcha.
Because
I feel like
at
any of the guards that they got that they're on the board here. Do you think any of these guys might go to them, or do you think they would just take Membo as he's the best overall offensive lineman on the board?
Probably just take the best overall available guy, just because we have signed a lot of people that can move around and be more versatile in the offensive line. But I think we have signed a lot of pretty decent linemen in the offseason. And we had a dreadful year full of injury, man. Honestly, let's get away from the offensive lineman right here in this 9th pick. Because I think we made some good moves in our offensive signings, and the people that are going to come back healthy this year, like Eric McCoy, solid center draft pick that we've had. So he can really rally with the younger unit when they're all healthy. So I think right here I want to stay away from him. I think the Saints would probably pick the best available offensive lineman, but I want to stay away from that.
So who you want to have me take here?
Honestly, I think that Tetero McMillan right here would be cool. I think we just need to find another guy to do it out there. We just we got Shaheed as a deep threat, got a route runner. I think a running back can hold off with Kamara, and we can get a guy later on that we can kind of build up behind him.
All right, we're going to fire Tetron McMillan then for the Saints. Okay. Now we got the Bears here.
Another fun pick would obviously be an edge rusher. Shamar Stewart would be fun for the Saints too. But come on, we're trying to be fun. We want the exciting picks.
So the Bears done a lot to beef up their offensive line. They've got Montez Sweat there, brought in another edge rusher and a defensive tackle. I don't know. On here, I mean, obviously Pro Football Focus, that trade got rejected. Had them maybe trading up for an edge player. Says they could use an offensive tackle.
Why not?
A running back.
Why not Tyler Warren, dude? It's that team needs on the Bears should be a tight end, bro. Is Cole Kmet starting tight end?
I mean, he is still there. Yeah, I don't know. That guy's always been very average, in my opinion. He has a few good games, but he really is not a big factor there.
Like, I feel like they've eliminated the tight end on their team needs only because he has a contract right here. Like, I feel like a running back would also be a good smart pick for him here.
Sense for them here.
But
I was also thinking potentially like a middle linebacker, like Jihad Campbell
Jihad Campbell would be cool.
Or Jalen Walker. Campbell's ranked all the way down here. I think Campbell's better than Jalen Walker.
He should be higher than Walker.
That's my personal opinion, but I believe, Campbell's better. But I kind of like that. That Tyler Warren, kind of fun pick there. I'm not going to lie.
So you could use him in your offense really, really versatile. Like really versatile ways.
Yeah. Throw him in there. The Bears they make a big splash pick. And now we got the Niners, some of their needs. Defensive tackle.
A lot of defense.
Cornerback. I think they go for Jahade Barron here, though. They lost Javarius Ward. I know he's down here a bit, but I think Derek Harmon's here, but I feel like it makes more sense because Nick Bosa's going to be there. I think you got to go secondary first. And that's where Pro Football Focus has them going anyways as well.
Yeah. They lost a lot in their secondary.
Right. And I think you got to, like, Jahade Barron's going to, who knows if he's definitely not going to be around if you don't go and get him now. So
I think if not now, then someone else is going to have their hands on him here.
Makes sense for that. All right.
Now the Cowboys.
Here the Cowboys. See, the Cowboys in this mock for Pro Football Focus were taking Tyler Warren, but now he's gone. So what's their plan here? Well, what if they also go running back here and they take Amarian Hampton? That makes a lot of sense to me. Or I can see them maybe going for another edge player. What do we got here? Maybe they take Shamar Stewart. Mike Green's probably a better pick here.
I
think it's the Cowboys. I think they gotta go more on the offensive end here.
I think definitely we'll go more on the offensive end.
We're gonna real quickly recap.
They need it back.
Who the Cowboys have taken. I mean, they brought in Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams, so maybe they don't go.
Nothing.
Yeah, but now I'm thinking about it. It's Jerry Jones. He'll be like, "Oh, those guys should be good enough for running back."
Yeah, he'll be stingy. Honestly, that's pretty true.
He'll
be stingy. And I mean, honestly, Cowboys going for Armand Membo right here would really not be too far fetched.
Or
just because.
Hear me out.
Cowboys.
Zach Martin's retired. Tyler Booker. That's true. You know, I like that one right there. I like Tyler Booker. We'll fire it
off.
the Cowboys. Tyler Booker. Here we go. Okay.
Now the Dolphins at 13.
Dolphins at 13. It's got them. Pro Football Focus as they take a tackle in Kelvin Banks. Call me crazy. I think the biggest thing that the Dolphins could add to their team is an elite middle linebacker.
Oh yeah.
I think their defensive line was plenty good, especially like think Jalen Phillips and what's his name, Bradley Chubb getting healthy. The secondary is pretty good. Who knows what's going to happen with Tyreek Hill, but you've got a good committee backfield. Offensive line's pretty solid. I think just the biggest thing that's missing on that defense is a real like elite middle linebacker.
I agree.
Jihad Campbell here.
I agree with that one.
Boom. We're going to fire Jihad Campbell in at pick number 13. Number 14, we got the Colts. Biggest needs, tight end, offensive center, and guard, linebacker, quarterback here. If we're looking at tight ends, Colston Loveland, not crazy, not out of the picture here. If we're just looking at some of the best available guys, Pro Football Focus has them taking Nick Amenaware. I don't think that makes a lot of sense, especially because they got the guy from Minnesota, so I don't like their secondary is fine.
Yeah. Yeah, they got Bynum, right?
Yeah, Cameron Bynum. I really think we fired Colston Loveland here. It just makes the most sense to me. Yeah, Warren's gone. Loveland. I think Loveland could still potentially be first round talent. So I think we're going to go fire Colston Loveland there.
Falcons. 15th overall pick, baby. Here we go.
They
need
defense.
Defense badly. That's all their team needs. It's all defense.
Jalen Walker's there. That could be, but I think more so than anything, they need it says cornerbacks their biggest need, but
they need like a Shamar Stewart.
I think edge makes the most sense here.
They need to get.
They need pressure, especially they lost Grady Jarrett, so it's like a D tackle or edge. And I think if we're looking at it right here, I personally think Mike Green is better, but I feel like Shamar Stewart's going to go above him.
Probably go above him
just because he's
of the school. Honestly,
yeah, bigger school.
Marshall, Texas A&M. I honestly, Shamar Stewart probably go with Falcons here.
Bang, fire that through. All right. See, it says edge is the biggest need for the Cardinals. They signed Josh Sweat off of the Eagles, so I don't think that. Maybe they could use a good D tackle to go alongside him, or another wide receiver. But honestly, he's fallen a lot here.
I think them going for Membo, if he fell this far, is kind of a steal.
Right,
getting them with your 16th overall, you didn't have to lose a whole bunch of games to get the best available offensive lineman here, pretty much.
Because you think about their offensive line play was, Kyler Murray bailed them out of some kind of bad offensive line play, for being honest here.
And so did James Conner, in my opinion. Honestly,
right.
when they had offensive line success when they ran big multiple 2 tight end sets where there's 8 guys on the offensive line and they just run to the strong side where you've got like 4 people ready to lead block for your running back. And I don't know. They had more success when they packed up the offensive line.
Fire that away. The Bengals. So Membo to the Cardinals, the Bengals here. They got, defense has to be their biggest need. They've sold out on offense. Who knows what Trey Hendrickson's future is? In this situation, I could see maybe it makes sense for them to go Mike Green here. They do have Sam Hubbard. Malachi Starks, they got gashed through the air.
Retired.
Did he?
Yeah, he retired.
Oh, shit. I must have missed that. All right. Malachi Starks does make a lot of sense to me here, too. But, man, I think if Hendrickson's looking for a trade because they can't pay him, maybe it makes sense to bring in Green. You're going to need a pass rusher.
True.
And he's definitely the best available there.
If they keep Hendrickson, though, could possibly see a Jalen Walker. They are another guy.
I think if they work something out,
they need a linebacker back.
They do. Starks or Walker, really. If they're able to figure something out with Hendrickson. But if not, I think you got to just go Mike Green or best available edge rusher there.
I like Mike Green there.
And then I don't really see something getting worked out with Hendrickson, so we're going to just go ahead and fire away on that. Seahawks, man, they need a lot of offensive line help. Kelvin Banks is still available.
I say
Best available offensive lineman on the board. You got to go. Imagine they
need the
just take him
O-line
there.
help. They need it bad.
Bam.
Sam Darnold, boy, he needs a good O-line.
Something I want to put out with this Cardinals pick. I'm seeing some mocks where like somebody like the Chargers or what's the other team? I think it was the Rams trade up with them to try to draft a receiver there. So keep that in mind though. The Cardinals may trade back. Now we get to the Buccaneers. So their biggest need is corner. They got Zion McCollum there. I think he's a really underrated young star there. And then the other guy on the other side, I can't remember his name, but he's good too.
I think Starks right here would be a pretty solid pick.
Starks makes a lot of sense. Pair him up there with Antoine Winfield. Winfield has, I think, the better speed and is better just roaming back there in the secondary. And Starks is more of that strong safety play in the box type of play there. I think you pair, your Tampa Bay, you go and just pair those two guys up there. Look, your offense was clicking a lot last year, but Tampa's defense took them a while to get going. So I think we started on the defensive side of the ball. And another safety who's got great coverage skills, but I think can also come down and fit really well in run support. Big for them there. Now we get to my Broncos.
Here we go.
We need running backs.
To pick right here.
I know we need running backs here. We don't really need a tight end. We got Evan Ingram. Another wide receiver would be nice.
Definitely.
I'm looking at who's available here.
Hampton.
Mary Hampton is
Henderson.
Here. But as I'm just looking at it, Matthew Golden's on the board.
Egbuka.
And Mecca Mbuka. Right here, it's got the Broncos taking Burden. I think that's just because Golden was in this mock draft was traded up for and grabbed. Golden, he's really fast. He's good. I definitely want us to go wide receiver here. I like the running backs. I really think we can still get somebody pretty good later on.
A lot of guys on that list.
I mean, look how far down. Like Devin Neal, I wouldn't mind Devin Neal. RJ Harvey, I think he's super good.
Underrated running back class.
Jaden Blue, I wouldn't mind having him.
Yeah,
Bayshawn Tuttle had a great.
Don't jump the gun, Saints.
Damian Martinez and Ollie Gordon. Dylan Sampson's wasn't bad. I mean, and I think we can still get somebody even like on the Maury Hampton or Travion Henderson's level at with our second pick.
Even Quinshon Judkins available in this draft. Dude.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of running backs.
So it's got us taking Burden. Golden's available. I like Mbuka the best though, if I'm going to be honest. Like Golden is great, but I think Mbuka really would work. I think he's just the best route runner, and
that's kind of what you guys need right now.
Right. I mean, Marvin Mims. Look, he really started developing. Like Sean Payton kind of unlocked something with that guy late in the season.
I think
we've got that deep ball
year
deep ball gadget type of guy there. Cortland Sutton, he's that possession 50-50 guy that we're gonna have here. And I think Mbuka is you can just bring him in. He'll be your best pure route runner. That guy that can work the middle of the field really well. So, if Golden's here, would we take him? There's a good chance.
Probably, most
likely.
But
I really like Mbuka more. So this is, some personal bias here from the mock drafter, but I think we take Emeka Egbuka instead.
I want to predict it now. Breakout year coming from Marvin Mims this season. They got the connection late, and your Broncos were going on a run. HG. I want to predict it out. Breakout year incoming from Marvin Mims this season. I think he's going to be solid.
I like it. So here now we get to the Steelers. Can I suggest something crazy here? Aaron Rodgers keeps holding out. They don't know what's going on here. They take Jackson Dart.
Oh gosh. You know what? It's not too far. It's not really too
That's by far their biggest need, and I think
They
Dart
need a
could.
quarterback.
I mean, Pro Football Focus has Shador Sanders falling to them. I don't see that happening. I just think there's still too many teams that need a quarterback that would snatch him up before that.
I say they either go Dart or Milrow right here.
Right.
If
I think Dart's.
Rodgers-
I mean, I could see them messing up and taking Milrow. I feel like Dart's just the better, more NFL ready quarterback. Milrow has an incredibly strong arm, but he relies on his athleticism and his legs a lot more. Dart, I think, is just a better pocket passer.
Thrower.
Pass
first.
And he's more just accurate in the intermediate to short passing game. Not as good as an athlete as Milrow, but I think if you're just looking for a quarterback that's less of a project and could be more
right,
can
play.
Can be ready to play early. I think Jackson Dart's just going to be more refined, and I think it'd make more sense for the Steelers to take him. So we're going to fire in Jackson Dart there.
Now we got the Chargers at 22.
They need a wide receiver. I mean, there's just no way around it. I know it says they need defensive tackle, but like
no, they don't. They need
Josh Palmer's gone.
They
Quintez Johnson is all right. Ladd McConkey is just not enough.
They will get a D tackle later in this draft. They're picking a receiver.
Right. I think Golden's still here. Bing, boom,
Golden.
fire, Golden.
Bang, boom. Packers now. Now, right here, edge, corner, receiver, defensive tackle, or a linebacker.
I mean, if we're Green Bay, though, like, let's think about this. I know, like, maybe they need secondary and something more like that, but you're agreeing, like, Jalen Walker's available. Like, do you maybe just take him because he's the best available player and you can really find
I think they can find value with him for sure. They could really find value with him.
I mean, out of that, I mean, yeah, Michael Williams would make some sense for them. Would probably be who I would have them take here instead. But I mean, Walker, I don't think he can drop much further. And they could use a linebacker. And like, if you're Green Bay, like, yeah, maybe it's not necessarily their biggest need, but there's still some great edge players that could be available late. I mean, this guy at the Boston College, he could drop to you. He's super good. I like Olojeda out of UCLA. Princely, I don't remember how to say that last name. I'm not going to try. He's good. There's still plenty of talent, I think, down here. And potentially, there's like guys you could potentially trade up for as well. I think you just got to like snag Jalen Walker before if he falls to you. Fire it. Feels good.
I like it. Right. I like it. Jalen Walker.
Boom. All right. Now we get to the Vikings. They did lose Cam Bynum. They brought back Byron Murphy. So that they do have corner help there. So they probably don't need that. If we're looking at it, yeah, safety would make a lot of sense. Nick Amenaware, probably the consensus best safety on the board. There's another guy I really like that safety. Mabuka from Texas. He's really good, but obviously projected way lower. I think he's probably more second round talent if we're being honest. But if we're looking at it from Vikings perspective, I think they go Nick Amenaware here.
I think so.
Like the secondary is where they're going to need to rebuff a little bit, and safety.
Sure
is the biggest.
Edge being a team need, I feel like it's only because Van Ginkel is kind of old.
Right. I mean, Grenard and him had great seasons, and they just, with the way they blitz, I don't feel like you really need.
Yeah, they just send a lot of guys normally. I don't think they need an edge rusher right here.
We're going to fire Nick Amenaware here for the Vikings. Boom.
Now Texans.
The Texans. I think they have to go offensive line here.
Offensive line.
Probably tackle. If
they just lost Tunsil.
You traded away Laramie Tunsil. Like, there's some decent guards and centers here, but not like guys that I don't think you want to jump up and take just yet. Maybe Zabel would be all right, but I think, he's projected like he's the 25th player on the board. And I think it just makes a whole lot of sense to go take Josh Simmons here.
Offensive lineman.
You gotta, but
I
like,
agree.
see why they traded away Tunsil when I think a big reason we saw CJ Stroud struggle in the sophomore campaign is because he faced so much pressure. I mean, he was the second most sacked quarterback in the league this year.
It was really just Tunsil had a horrible year with penalties.
Right. I mean, he did it like he did his best with a banged up receiver core and pretty shoddy offensive line play. Like, you got to just protect Stroud and you'll be a much better team. So we're going to take Josh Simmons there for the Texans. Now we come to the Rams, the 26th pick. They could use a linebacker, potentially cornerback, edge, tight end, running back. Well,
and honestly, I think their secondary is fine. It's just pretty young still. Now, them going for a linebacker or an edge rusher here would be kind of cool.
I do worry that like maybe it's a bit of a reach for him. But that's what they might feel. And their that defensive line was pretty good. I just can't imagine you would like with Jared Verse and what's his name? The other.
Why would you get another edge guy when you have those two pass rushers?
But then on the flip side, it's like the best available players here, Harmon, Michael Williams. Could you just try to make it stacked defensive line unit? Put Michael Williams on the other side of Jared Verse. That would make some sense to me, actually. If we look at offensive prospects, I think it's too early to go and take another tight end. I don't know if any of these other guys are worth burning a first-round pick on. Maybe you might go for somebody, a guard to replace Jonah Jackson. You could take Zabel. Wide receivers. Do you want to try to replace Cooper Flagg? I don't know. Go for a kicker here. No, I'm joking.
With the 26th pick, I would love to see that. Actually, we need it.
If we're looking at defense here, do they reach a bit and go for Siobhan Revel? Because I could see a corner makes the most sense if they were going to go defense for me.
True.
But also just having a stacked pass rush unit could be the move here for them, you know?
I kind of like that they go for just having a stacked D line. A universe where they just replace Aaron Donald with 4 people.
Do you think they go edge or interior? Harmon or Michael Williams? Because I mean, those guys
I think interior.
We take Harmon here. I like that. Boom. Now we get to the Ravens. They could potentially use some edge presence, maybe a corner, a guard here.
Linebacker, safety. Honestly, maybe just like a corner or safety. Getting a young guy to have under Marlon Humphrey and Hamilton wouldn't be too bad. Just give him some help.
Yeah.
Because in the passing game this year, that's the only guys that were really there to defend.
I think I could see them reaching a bit here, especially you defended the run really well last year if you were Baltimore.
Getting Revel right here wouldn't be terrible.
Shredded. I mean, they got absolutely
the worst passing defense for weeks on end.
Right. They did bring in Chidobe Awuzie, but I don't know if that's going to really move the needle there for you.
No.
Siobhan Revel here makes a lot of sense. Maybe Xavier
Watts isn't a bad pick.
But I kind of like
I think
Revel's just the better DB to go with here overall. So we'll fire that in there for the Ravens.
Now the Lions at 28.
They need, I think edge is going to be the most important with how, Aiden Hutchinson's health, how he's going to be.
They're going to have to
coming back from that.
Else. That D line without him was just not creating the pressure that they needed at all.
Let's see. Did they lose anybody on the offensive line? They didn't really bring in. I mean, they brought in a number of defensive linemen, but like maybe Marcus Davenport might be a factor, but like Pat O'Connor.
Those are just rotational guys.
Muhammad, he was solid. but nobody that really outside of Hutchinson's an elite edge threat. I think they take Michael Williams here.
I like that pick too. They're at 26 or 28.
28, yeah.
And now the Commanders, baby.
The Commies.
At 29. Great season from them. They're really just building up on young talent at this point. Scary team.
Yeah. Offensively,
Honestly,
I think they're pretty sound. On the defensive side of the ball, I'm just trying to remind myself what free agents they got. Cleveland Farrell re-signed with them. They did lose Dante Fowler. They don't really have like a true edge rushing presence. So I think another edge player here would make sense.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who do we got here? James Pierce. Likely who they go with. Donovan Ezekaruka is probably the better. I don't know. Like Walter Nolan, definitely your best. Oh, I forgot Nick Scorton's on the board here. He's probably the best defensive tackle on the board. However, you've got Jonathan Allen there and Deron Payne. So I really like Dante Fowler is no longer there as an edge pressure. I think Scorton probably makes the most sense here.
Yeah, Scorton. Here you go. The best available.
Boom. Now the Bills.
3. Bills.
Secondary help would make sense for me. Although interior defensive lineman
Nolan
also makes a lot of sense here.
Pairing up Nolan. Who's their other freaking big defensive lineman?
Ed Oliver.
Not Ed Oliver. Ed Oliver and Walter
I think
Nolan
you got Greg
combo,
Russo
dude.
is a good edge rusher as well.
Pair that up. Their D-line would be nasty, dude.
Right. I think that would really help them shut down the run. And I just think it's too early for them to probably go cornerback here.
Yeah. Because there's definitely, or they could go Watts. Potentially getting Xavier
I could
Watts.
see them going Watts, but I think if you're the Bills, maybe it just makes sense to get another beast in
line,
in the interior and just try make it so hard for teams to run on you. They did bring in Joey Bosa as an edge guy too. Christian Beneford is coming back. They get Dane Jackson there. Yeah, I think Buffalo. That was a big problem for them in the playoffs. Is they just were struggling to generate pressure and slow down the run.
I like
against both the Chiefs and the Ravens. They ran the ball pretty well against them. So go ahead and we'll fire in Walter Nolan.
Just give him some depth. Let's just give him the worst available player, man.
Yeah, I think they'll take Zabel here. Best offensive guard. You got to replace Joe Thuney. Best offensive lineman on the board right now.
They need some O-line.
Makes the most sense. Go ahead and fire him in there.
Fired in there.
Bam.
Now the Eagles, they lost a lot on defense in this offseason.
A
lot of people were not able to re-sign. So really,
I think, you got to try to
available defensive
bring in an edge player here. Because I believe in Howie, I think he goes Donovan Ezerique. James Pierce, bigger school. I know that's probably why he's up here. He's
the dude that would go for the smaller school guy. I agree.
I think he's kind of small, and I mean, he does there aren't a lot of Georgia defenders here, anyways, which is where he really likes to go.
That's true.
And I think he just would know on tape that Donovan Ezerique is better.
I agree with you there.
Give him a. So let's boom. We'll fire that in here. So James Pierce does remain on the board. And bam. Donovan Ezerique is our final player off the board. So here we go. Here's our first round. Let's take a look at it. What we got here. Let us know how it is, guys. Tell us if we're crazy or not. But I think this is
this is pretty fair.
Pretty good.
The only thing I might change, honestly, is the Saints picking the defensive player.
If it didn't feel so impossible to get a trade to work on here, I think we certainly would have had some trades here. The Cardinals, I think, would be prime to trade out of their spot here. I could really see, the Cardinals.
Bengals trying to trade. Not really, unless they trade Hendrickson.
I could see the Bengals maybe trying to trade up, try to jump into the top 10 to get a premier edge rusher. But if like a guy like Green could fall to them, yeah, they might be there. The Bears, I could see them going Warren, but I also see them taking like another edge guy or a, maybe Jihad Campbell, Jalen Walker maybe doesn't potentially fall and he goes closer to the top 10. I could see the Bucks potentially being okay to trade back. Like maybe, the Texans, they really want to try to trade up and get Kelvin Banks. So maybe they try to trade with the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Or if that doesn't work, they try to trade with the Buccaneers, or they could trade with the Cardinals too, try to go up there and get Banks. Membo, decent chance he doesn't fall out. I could also see the Bears being boring and like, all right, well, we also kind of need a better
offensive line.
Like we got the interior, but like the edge of the O-line could use some work. So we could go Membo here and just really full commit to protecting Caleb Williams. But I think you got to make a kind of a splash play here.
Oh yeah.
A run, like I could see them running back a receiver here. The Raiders, yeah, I think Genty probably makes the most sense because like they just got nobody at running back, and at least Jacoby Myers has proved to be a serviceable player here.
You got something with them.
Yeah,
they got something with them.
Man, there is a chance that the Browns don't go Shador, that the Giants certainly take Shador. But if he does fall, I like the Jets taking him there because Justin Fields is by far just a bridge QB. And like you can, maybe you think Shador is a little rougher in the edges and you need to refine them so you can have Fields be the starter. Hey, maybe Fields plays really well and you don't need to start Shador year one. Maybe he doesn't. And you get him in late in the season and let him get some practice under. I kind of like, the Steelers taking the quarterback. I could see that.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe running back there for them too, but
if Rodgers,
I don't know what. Like Rodgers is just playing so many games that who knows. All right, we're through with Madness Mondays. We gave you guys a little NFL mock draft as well. Let us know. We'll probably we'll bring a more full 7-round complete one as we get closer to the draft. End of April. We're almost there. That's going to do it for our show today. Final edition of Madness Mondays.
We're going to miss you guys on the first day of the week.
Monday shows, we'll be taking a hiatus for a little bit. We do plan to bring them back, though, for football season. Football Frenzy does have to make a return. It was just too good to not do it.
Football Frenzy is way too good.
Yeah. Well, the Wednesday shows will continue on. Plenty of action to go there as the NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs start to take shape. NFL, WNBA draft coming up. MLB season kicking off. UFL week 2. We'll have a recap for that for you there. And plenty more until the final whistle, presented by Military Broadcast Radio. I'm HG with K-Band and H-Train on the sound. Signing off.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.